Hey, I am Dory, and I passed my real estate exam, and now I am moving through the process of being a licensed real estate agent. So what happens after you pass your licensing exam? Well, here's the thing that nobody tells you. Passing the test is exciting, but the moment you walk out of the testing center, the real work begins, and I am full in it right now. And there's the thunder. That is, we'll see if you can hear this, but that's fun. Summer storm is a brewing. So right now I am in the middle of one of the biggest decisions of the whole process, choosing my brokerage. And I thought, why not bring you along for the ride? Because this is exactly the kind of thing that I wish someone were here to walk me through. I have an amazing husband, great family, and they're sounding boards, but I'm having to figure this all out, even with my connections, even with the suggestions of my dad and my brother who is in real estate and everyone that I know in this world. It still feels overwhelming and like there's so much pressure with it. So let me take you back to the moment right after I found out that I passed. Kind of talked about this on my first video. I was standing there in complete disbelief, and at the same time I was having this real mom versus professional moment. I couldn't take my phone to the testing center, so before I went in, I set up a system with my husband and the kids and my mom, and the deal was if they hadn't heard from me by a certain time, then my mom was going to go pick up my kids, bring them to her house so we could get on the road to Richmond to a rehearsal. So here I am. I just find out that I've passed both portions of my licensing exam. My brain immediately goes to, okay, does my mom have the kids yet? Do I have time to breathe? Do I need to order dinner? Do I have time to get my fingerprints done? So I ended up calling her, asking her if she'll go. She was actually, I think, already on the way. Gave me a few minutes to collect myself and figure out what comes next. And I needed those few minutes because that first step after you pass is to do your background check and your fingerprinting. And so while I was at the testing center, the woman who had been proctoring and kind of running the whole testing center asked me if I had a brokerage lined up. And I told her, no, not yet. I have a few that I'm talking to, but I haven't made a decision yet. So she walked me through what the next steps are going to look like. First is a background check and fingerprinting. Both of those can be done at the same time. And then she let me know that when I could come back in and I could get that done, but I'm already there. And so I said, my mom is getting the kids. Let me go ahead while I'm here. Let's just do it. I have 45 days in order to send that to a brokerage. And I thought, I think I'm good. That's a month and a half. Let me do the fingerprinting background check. So it was $52, $56, something like that. They do digital fingerprints. I fill out a little bit of paperwork. It gets submitted to Virginia's licensing department. And then the process starts. I have 45 days. The timeline is going to get my license. 45 days sounds like a lot until it doesn't. So the real work happens. It hits me as I'm walking out of the testing center. Now I actually have to be serious about this brokerage decision. So I've been having conversations with a few different brokerages already, and I'm really glad that I wasn't fully starting from scratch, but it feels a lot more real now than it did when I was studying for the test. I have to make a decision. So I sat down with my parents. My dad has been in the Charlottesville area in the real estate world for a very long time. He knows all of the brokerages and has opinions on them and did a really great job of talking through what I might want and not want. So we talked through pros and cons, what I would need, what I wouldn't need. He was a great sounding board for me. My mom was awesome at helping me think through some things as well. And what's funny is, of course, everything has changed in the last week since that, as I've been digging in even more. So let me back up. What I'm evaluating as I'm talking to different brokerages, the commission split is a big thing. That matters. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't, because you're doing this for an income. I'm not doing it for free. So that does matter, but it's not the only thing that I'm looking at. What I'm really paying attention to is how specific offices work. Some places you walk in and you feel warm and welcome and excited. Other places you may not get that feeling. And that matters to me. I want to be somewhere where it's genuinely exciting to be there, and they're excited to have me. Not in a desperate way, like, oh, we need people, but in a way that feels like a real fit. I'm also thinking about mentorship, because even though I know and understand the real estate world in some ways, I know that I need someone to hold my hands while I'm learning the ropes. I know that about myself. I pick things up really quickly, and I also don't want to feel micromanaged. So I'm looking for a balance of support and guidance without hovering. It's a mix of all of these. And right now I'm paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to what are the other transaction fees? Are there desk fees? Are there minimums that have to be hit? All of these are part of the process. So the question is, where am I right now? Well, I had to kind of take a little bit of a pause for things because it's Tech Week right now for my kids' show. And Tech Week in the theater world is massively time consuming and really takes up all my brain power and energy. So I've had to put a lot on hold while I'm investigating. I'm using this time to reach out to as many brokerages as I can and getting on the books for next week so we can talk and see what's happening and what sort of interest they have in me, what interest I have in them. I'm creating a spreadsheet of what it looks like so that I can compare apples to apples-ish. It's not fully the same for any one brokerage, but at least I can kind of line it up and see how it looks. And I haven't made a final decision. I am sure when I do, I'll announce it on here, which will be really fun. You're going to see that process in real time, not just the highlight reel after it's figured out. This is true. Here's where we are in the middle of May. I will say, here is how I tend to make my decision about things. I think it's worth sharing because it might resonate. I take all the information in. I let it marinate. I sit with it. I talk to my close circle about it a lot. They get really tired of it, and then I go with my gut. It's data driven, but it's deeply intuitive, and I've always made good decisions when I approach things this way. It's the way that works for me. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but it is my process and I trust it implicitly. So right now I'm in the marinating phase and the data gathering phase, and originally I was going to make the decision by today. And then earlier this week, I pushed it back to Friday, and now I'm pushing it back to next week because I just feel like I need a little bit more time. And that's where I stand. I've passed the test, started the background check and the fingerprinting, and I'm actively working through finding a brokerage that is the right fit for me. And when I make that decision, I am going to come back here and tell you exactly which brokerage I chose and why, because I do think that that's an important decision and part of the story. I may not give you all the numbers because I don't think that that's needed, but I'll definitely give some pieces as to why my heart led me to a particular place. So I'm curious, if you're a real estate agent, what matters most to you? If you're looking into the world, what would you think would matter most to you? If you are a client looking to buy or sell a house, or you're just a friend of mine and you're cheering me on in this process, what is the most important thing? What are the things that I should be looking at that maybe I'm not thinking of? I'm genuinely curious. I I just want to know. I'm trying to think of all angles because, again, I know it and I also don't know it. So let's keep the conversation going. It's just the beginning. Thanks for tuning in.